Are you guys as glad to be done with 2020 as I am? Woohoo! It's 2021! All right, today we're gonna get into a series called Moods. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Here it is.
Sorry about that. If you're anything like me, your favorite song probably changes all the time. When I'm feeling really good and really happy like what you just saw, I love to listen to upbeat and positive songs. When I'm trying to pump myself up for a big game or get excited about something challenging, I listen to something loud. When I'm really frustrated or angry with somebody, the angry songs just seem to get me. And if I'm sad, there's a song for that too. Maybe you're the same way. You've got a favorite song that speaks to what you're dealing with. You've got a song that fits each feeling, one that matches every mood, one that reflects the emotions you might be experiencing. I can show you, it's like this. How does this song make you feel? Alexa, play me a mood. All right, that was a good one. How about this one? Alexa, next song. All right, how about this one? Alexa, next song. Okay, how about this one? Alexa, next song. All right, Alexa, stop the music. Whew. All right, that was a lot. It's pretty amazing how songs can make us feel happy or mad or sad, isn't it? Well, that's what our series is about, our feelings, our emotions, our moods. Maybe you hear the word emotions and you think, oh yeah, I know what emotions are, happy, sad, or mad. Or maybe you hear the word feelings and you think, I know those, I'm always hungry. That's a feeling, right? Well, sort of. You're probably feeling 1,000,001 things every single day. And while hunger is definitely a feeling you get in your stomach, what I'm talking about today is a little different. I'm talking about the things you feel in your mind. Chances are, you might not always know how to talk about what you're feeling. You know you're feeling something, but you may not know exactly what to call it. And that's because feelings change fast. And often, what you're feeling is tough to put into words. Sometimes you're more than just mad. Sometimes it's your mom grounded you this week, mad. Or your sister stole your sweater, mad. Or your best friend didn't invite you to the party, type of mad. Or maybe it's not even mad, maybe it's sad, like your parents are in a fight again, sort of sad. Or you didn't make the team, sad. Or you didn't get a carnation during lunch, type of sad. A carnation is a flower or milk or whatever it is, okay? You know what I'm talking about. Or maybe it's you scored the winning goal, happy. Or you got first chair in the orchestra, type of happy. Or, watch this, you finally got your own room, type of happy. You see what I mean? Sometimes what we're feeling is so much more than just words we have. It's deeper than just happy or sad or mad. It's kind of like this. Do I have any painters out there? Like, you know what you're doing type of painters? Or maybe you're like me and you don't know anything about painting. If so, I bet you folks who are artists know exactly what this is. This tray here is technically called a, this wood tray, it's a palette, that's it, it's a palette, okay? And artists use these whenever they're creating a masterpiece, okay? It holds all the colors artists need to create whatever masterpiece that they're painting. Let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? So artists like myself would grab yellow and put it on the palette, okay? Got a little yellow, they would put a little blue here, okay? Use the blue. Let me get a little bit of red in here. Check this out, okay? Using a little bit of red. Yeah, get that on there. Okay, so let's just start with the basic colors, okay? Yellow, blue, and red. But artists don't only use the basic red, yellow, and blue to create a detailed picture. There are so many other colors for them to paint with. It's sort of like this. So many different colors for people to use. And then people can even mix these colors up, okay? They can mix, they can do all sorts of things with so many more colors. And honestly, this is a lot like our feelings. We're all dealing with an entire artist's palette of emotions. At first, we all become familiar with the 3 primary colors, right? These are primary colors of emotions, okay? We all start with those basic words when we talk about how we feel. Yellow is happy, right? Blue is when we're sad, and red is when we're angry. And these colors, they represent a few of the emotions that we feel. But you know this, as we mature, we have more colors to choose from, more feelings to feel. There's anxiousness, there's excited, there's inspired, there's jealous, there's guilty, and so many more. We start to have access to so many different shades and combinations of feelings. See, we get all these moods and emotions we've never experienced or expressed before. They're on our palette now. And the more feelings we feel or experience as we mature, the more colors we have on our palette. Now, I'm no artist, but I can tell you that I felt all sorts of emotions throughout my life. I've used so many of these colors that I should feel like an expert painter at this point. And maybe you can relate. Maybe you've experienced some or all of these emotions as well. So the question then becomes, what do we do with all these moods? Here's what everyone needs to know. Emotions are a good thing. Even the bad emotions. Feeling what we feel is actually a great and healthy thing to do. But at some point, we've all probably struggled or been told we struggle with managing the many different moods we have. And that looks different for all of us. Maybe you tend to avoid letting your feelings and emotions show because you don't want to seem weak. But here's the thing, having feelings doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Or maybe you struggle with your moods because it feels like they'll last forever. Like the way you feel now seems like the way you'll always feel. You're sad and can't figure out how to get out of it. Or you're happy and you hope it lasts forever. We've all been there. We've all thought that what we feel now will be what we feel forever. Or maybe you don't think much about your own feelings, but you see people's worlds revolve around their feelings. Your parents, your friends, your coach, your older sibling, someone in your group, that guy losing it in a viral video online. Everybody around you seems to be obsessed with what they're feeling. Maybe you've said or done something out of the ordinary because of what you're feeling. Maybe it was something you regretted. Maybe you yelled at your parents when you were angry or threw something at your sibling when you were frustrated, or stormed out of the room and slammed the door when you were overwhelmed. Now, typically, these aren't things you usually do or say. That's because, like a lot of us, you got caught reacting to your feelings. Like we all have at some point, you got stuck letting your emotions tell you what to do. In other words, you let your emotions be the boss of you. And honestly, we all do this. I, for sure, am guilty. We all struggle to control our feelings instead of letting them control us. After all, it's hard to say no to our feelings when they're so strong. It's hard to take control of our feelings when our feelings seem to have all the power. The problem with this, though, isn't that we have feelings. There's nothing wrong with having a feeling or even developing a mood. The problem starts when we let our feelings become the boss of us. When we let our moods tell us what to do. The thing that I love about Jesus is that so much of what he teaches is helpful for everyone. Whether you consider yourself a Jesus follower or not, there's something you can take from what we're going to talk about today. It's something really cool that Jesus said during his time here on earth that I think could help us all. Something that shows us how to control our moods rather than letting our moods control us. And here's what I think is cool about this. Not only can we trust what Jesus says about our feelings because he is God himself, we can also trust him because he was human as well. When Jesus came to earth, he came as a human, and that means he experienced what we do. He knows what it's like to feel all the feelings. So when he talks about emotions, we can trust that he knows what he's talking about. So let's take a look at what Jesus had to say to a group of people about feelings. And then he added, It is what comes from inside that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these vile things come from within. They are what defile you. Jesus was talking to a crowd of people when he said this. And in that crowd of people were Pharisees and other teachers of the law. These were people who thought they knew exactly what they had to do to be right with God. They knew the law or the rules that had been passed down to them inside and out. And they thought living by those rules made them good. But Jesus, well, he lived in a way that looked completely different than the Pharisees thought he should. He was less concerned about what people were doing and more concerned with what was going on the inside of them. He was focused on what was happening in their hearts. That's why Jesus started here by pointing out that there's so much more to our actions or words. That long list of stuff he talked about here, the evil thoughts, the pride, the foolishness, the deceit, the greed, all those things start from within. They're an overflow of what we feel in our hearts. And when we aren't paying attention, what we feel in our hearts can take over and become the boss of us, controlling what we do and say. Because of that, we need to take our moods more seriously. We have to pay attention to how we feel because how we feel motivates how we act. Our moods come out in our words, our actions, our choices, and so much more. Now, I get this isn't going to be easy. We don't just have to identify what we feel, we also need to pay attention to how it makes us act. How are we supposed to not let our feelings be the boss of us when the feelings are so strong? I think Jesus understood that this was going to be hard. He knew that whether you're 11 years old or 103 years old, this was going to be a struggle. I think that's why Jesus also said this. Then Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." See, this feelings stuff is hard. Jesus knew that, and that's why he offers to do it with us. When we're feeling something and it's intense, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're tempted to let our mood ruin someone else's mood, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're not even sure if what we're feeling is okay, Jesus tells us to come to him. When we're feeling like our emotions are out of control or difficult to understand or simply making us act in ways we don't typically act, Jesus tells us to come to him. Maybe you're thinking that this all sounds great, but you're not really sure what it looks like to go to Jesus. Well, going to Jesus can mean different things to each of us. Maybe for you, it's trusting for the first time that Jesus is with you. Maybe for you, it's reading your Bible or praying or singing worship songs. It could be talking to Jesus directly about what you're feeling, the same way you would talk to a friend or a trusted adult in your life. Or maybe it's simply remembering that Jesus knows what it's like to feel big feelings. You can be comforted that he's right there with you. And here's what I want you to remember. When you feel like your moods are controlling you, Jesus will give you rest. He'll give you help. He'll give you a break from the weight of your feelings. He'll help lead you in a better way. We can go to him with anything that we're feeling because he's not scared of our big feelings. He wants us to trust him through them. He's a better boss than our emotions will ever be. Emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So, what does that mean? What exactly does it look like to take a step back from letting your feelings be in control? What does it look like to not let your emotions be the boss of you? Here are a few things you can do to start. First, try to think of the top 1 or 2 emotions you have the hardest time controlling. Think of the ones that end up motivating you to say or do something you wouldn't normally do. The ones that end up bossing you around more than you'd like. Maybe it's rage or sadness or frustration or anxiety or fear. Whatever it is for you, start paying attention to it. Remember, we said it's important to pay attention to our feelings. When we do or say something that isn't the way we would normally act, stop and think about why. The truth is, it may be difficult to do this in the moment, so it takes practice. And if you've already acted because of your emotions, well, give yourself some time to think about why you said what you said or did what you did. Ask yourself, what was I feeling just before I said or did it? Pay attention to the moods that you were experiencing just before you acted. That will help you recognize it the next time you're feeling that way. Next, talk about your feelings. For some of us, this comes super easy. We love to talk about our feelings and what makes us feel those things. But for others of us, especially me, this isn't very fun or easy. For some of us, talking about our feelings kind of feels awful. I'm not saying we need to pour our hearts out about all of our emotions. I'm just asking each of us to identify exactly what we're feeling, to check in with ourselves, to name our moods. If you're mad, say that. If you're angry, say that. If you're depressed, talk about it. Remember, it's not wrong to feel a certain way. Feelings are real. But sometimes by talking about it, we discover there are few other feelings attached to the first feeling, and it helps us gain some perspective. Find a safe person like a parent, a trusted friend, or your group leader who you can talk to about your moods. Somebody who will help you identify what it is you're feeling and how it might be causing you to act. Maybe even talk to Jesus in prayer. He invites us to come to him with our feelings, so maybe start there. And finally, be kind to yourself. This one is so important. If there's one thing I want you to know today, it's that your feelings aren't bad. And feeling them, talking about them, or experiencing them isn't bad either. Remember, we said this whole managing our moods thing wasn't going to be easy. So be kind to yourself when you don't always get it right. Don't beat yourself up about how you feel or how you act because of how you feel. Give yourself the chance to do it differently next time, to not let your feelings be the boss of you, to take it to Jesus and ask for his help. And remember, emotions don't have to be the boss of you. Now, I know it's easy to talk about this, but when it's in your real life, it's not so easy. Real life is complicated, and so are real feelings. That's why we made sure everybody has a group leader who also happens to be a human, who also happens to have feelings as well. These people show up every week because they care about you, and that makes them a safe person to go to with your real questions and your real feelings. They're here to help you realize that emotions don't have to be the boss of you. So, as you head to group today, consider talking to them about this question. When was a time you remember letting your emotions be the boss of you?